returning to that breaking news, Australia's Taipan helicopters will not return to flying operations before their planned withdrawal date of 2024. Joining me now live is Shadow Veterans Affairs Minister Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby, appreciate your time. Of course, it follows a series of major issues with that aircraft. Of course, most recently, 4 crew members died after a Taipan crash during military exercises. What's your reaction to this news?
Well, of course, our hearts and prayers still go forward to those 4 people and their families who died in that tragic crash up near the Whitsundays. What we're seeing overall is a weakening of our Defence Force. I'm sorry to say that, but we're seeing it. The relocation from Adelaide, which has brought disruption, the fact that we're not spending any new money on defence, and now we've got the Taipan, which is an essential platform, which is all grounded. Now, we've really got to sharpen up in defence, because our nation has to become as strong as possible, as quickly as possible, and this sort of reshuffling the deck chairs and removing one every now and then is not helping us at all. The world is watching, both our allies and those who are, let's say, not our allies, and when we see all the things that are happening around us, the involvement of the Communist Party of China and its government, tying up the Solomons, involvement of the Solomons, now involvement in East Timor, it is a concern, because it could be seen as a form of encirclement of Australia, and therefore we need an incredibly agile, adept, up-to-date and strong Defence Force. And what we're seeing at the moment is marvellous statements, heroic statements, but when you drill down through it, we're actually getting weaker.
Or has the government been too slow, in your view, in speeding up now the rollout of Black Hawk helicopters? Because we now don't have the Taipans, still waiting on the Black Hawk. Are we left open without an urgent replacement?
Yeah, we are. And just it's not just that. That's but one issue of so many in defence. And this is causing us problems, because we're not being adroit enough to understand our needs. And the Taipan had its issues, but having rotary wing aircraft that are deployable is an essential part of the modern day form of a defence force. If you don't have it, it's like not having trucks, or not having, being unable, or it's armoured personnel carriers. If you don't have it, you're really lacking, and that's where Australia finds itself now, and it goes hand in glove with other issues that just seem to scream at us. The current government, the Labor government, has taken its eyes off the ball here. They come into the chamber and say, oh, it's all so much better. And then the reality turns up in the paper, it's all so much worse.
Yeah, look, we'll have more throughout the morning on this developing news, but I want to move on and ask you about the Airline Senate inquiry. We now know that the Transport Minister prevented her department from opening negotiations with Qatar Airways on additional flights. What's your take on what we have heard from the inquiry so far?
Well, it's a mystery. It's another part of this. Labor Party don't tell you the details, like they don't tell you the legislation on The Voice. Now they're not telling us what happened with Qatar. There's one person who knows the answer to these questions, all of them, and her name is Catherine King, down at Ballarat. Got a big concern down there with the wind factories, which she seems to be at odds with her own government on. But what we've got to do is get Catherine King to basically open the book and tell us what on earth happened. I mean, what's going on here? Everybody's saying nothing to see here, had nothing to do with me, don't know anything about it. What, did Qatar ban themselves, did they? They just decided unilaterally that they didn't want a bigger slice of the market. And what, Qantas never said anything, did they? They just it was just magic. It was all magic, just magic, and it happened out of sight. Well, we're going to call rubbish on that, aren't we? And, the more they cover it up, the more they obfuscate, the more that the Australian people are going to say, well, mate, that just doesn't stack up. Fess up, give us the answers, because it's not the decision that's now getting into trouble, it's a cover-up, and it is a cover-up.
Yeah, look, certainly fascinating week in the inquiry. Before we let you go, in a major development in trade relations with China, its sanction on the export of Australian hay has been lifted. Is this another sign of progress between Australia and China, in your view? How should we take this?
Well, it's hay. I suppose it's important. I tell you what, the way it's drying out at the moment, we're going to get a lot of hay around home. You have a lot. It's not green and lush for spring, is it? And so we've got to we're heading into a dry period as well. So I think there'll be a lot of competition for that hay, and there'll be a lot of domestic competition for that hay because, we have to go through what we believe. We're not foolish. We know we're going into an El Nino season. It's going to be dry, and the more we understand about the science behind the weather, the more we can prepare for it. And we need hay, we need silage, we need grain. Sounds like China needs it as well.
Yeah, it doesn't look so good behind you, does it? Just finally, AFL, NRL Grand Final this weekend. Have you got a tip for us, Barnaby Joyce, on each?
I'm going Block Brisbane. There you go.
I thought so.
As a senator for Queensland, how could I go? How could I go in any other direction? But let's see. It's going to be the league's going to be really tough, and it'd be great to see. Imagine the party at Caxton Street if we win both of them. You won't be able to get there. They'll run out of beer. This will be complete madness.
You won't be able to get there. You can't fly there. It's too expensive at the moment because airlines have jacked up the price. But look, no doubt it will be a big party ahead. Barnaby Joyce.
I'll be able to see the fireworks from here if they win both.
Yeah, good on you. That's good. Barnaby Joyce, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this morning.